Good morning from Central Virginia. I hope your day is going well. I realized that in my yesterday's video that I posted, I talked about checking on the aphid situation on the borage, and I never really told you what was going on with that. So let me go back in time and tell you a little bit about the issue that I was having with one of my borage plants. I've also had seen these weird black aphids on a couple of other plants. Not many, but the borage really was getting attacked by aphids. So let me go back, show you what I did, and we'll go and check on how they're doing several days later. The rain has stopped for now. We have had lovely days of rain, and the garden is just responding accordingly. I'm not sure these zucchini plants could get much bigger. Let me pick my way through these monster zucchini over to the borage plant that was having the problem. All right, so here is a garden problem. Do you see all those little tiny black things there? And do you see the ants that are crawling up and down? Ants on your plants, unlike ants on your pants, is a sure sign or a good sign of aphids. And all of those little black things are aphids that are attacking this borage plant. The way I'm going to take care of them may sound brutal and it might sacrifice some blossoms, but I'm going to take a jet stream of water and I'm going to blast this plant, and that should blast off the aphids. I certainly don't want aphids in my garden, and I don't want them on my plants. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, this is the same area. I have jet sprayed them and I have knocked the aphids off. Now, true, I'm going to be full disclosure, I have probably permanently damaged this blossom end, but as you can see, this borage plant has a tremendous number of blossoms yet to bloom. I discovered the problem on the borage on Monday, I believe it was, and today is Friday. So my first line of defense, as you saw, was to just jet spray hard water onto the aphids, and that did knock them off. So now what I want to do is take a look now, several days later, to see whether to see if they've come back or not. Here's the borage plant. And I'm looking to see if I see any aphids. There were so many on these. These plants were just completely covered with aphids. I can see that I did destroy a couple of stems when I blasted them with water. I am not seeing the signs of aphids, which is really, really, really good. Here are a few. And the telltale sign is the ant. See the ant on there? It's hurting the aphids. So what I'm going to do is hurt the aphids. I'm just going to crush them. There are not so many on here. I suspect what that ant was doing was getting them from many different places and getting them to this one point. So he's going to be mightily upset with me. But I'm mightily upset that he's herded all those ants up onto all these aphids up into this plant. The one part of the plant which is not looking good, and there you go. There is an ant, and it's got an aphid. No, those are just the bottoms of the ants. All right, this part of the plant, the ants have been hurting the aphids up it. So and look down here. You can see them working their way, and they've got a nice little colony going right over there. So I am going to treat that leaf. I'm actually probably just going to take that leaf, pull it off, and then blast this off again with water. It's fascinating how they work. All right, so here goes nothing. Mainly, it's just down here on this one area that's really kind of bad. The ants are attacking me because they don't like the fact that I am interfering with their little aphid farm. All right. I think I got those aphids off of here. Not nearly as many as were on here before. So that's a good thing. All right, plant. I hope you have a few more days or weeks of blooming because you sure are pretty. And it's nice to have you here. I need my windshield wipers on my glasses. Anyway, that was the second treatment. I'm really not going to treat these things with insecticidal soap or any kind of pesticide. I think one of the most important things to do that I do and try to do is really check my garden constantly for pests. And my first line of defense is always just to use my hands, blast streams of water for things like this, and just go ahead and get those pests off of there by hand if possible. Um, I have a lot of birds that hang out here. There's a electrical wire that runs right here above, not terribly far from the garden, and the birds like to kind of hang up there, and then they'll swoop down and they will eat beetles and things like that. So that helps to keep some of the caterpillars and beetles in check. And I just try to stay out of the garden during those times of day so that the birds can do their thing. I will check back in a couple days and see whether this treatment is still working, and hopefully I can avoid putting anything on here. What I would put on next probably would be to use Dr. Bonner's Peppermint Castile soap in a solution with water and oil and try to do that. And probably the next thing I would do after that would be to use a solution of 100%, well, neem oil, diluted, of course, but it has to be the 100% azadirachtin concentrate. It cannot be anything. Most of the stuff they sell in the market is not going to be effective neem oil. They sell it widely in garden centers and call it neem oil, but it doesn't have the active ingredient, the azadirachtin, that it needs. So that's about neem. And that is all on right now today for the borage situation, the aphids on the borage situation. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening. Bye.